Give me a second. Hello, folks. Just getting going here, and I've got Ryan on stream. Hopefully his audio's coming through. Want to say something, Ryan?
Am I coming through?
Looks like it.
How about that? Yeah. Well, I thought my X joke was going to come on live, so I have to say it again. I call it X Twitter because X, X and Twitter. It used to be Twitter. X Twitter,
like EX Twitter.
Yeah, exactly, like an ex-wife.
Awesome. Well, to everyone tuning in, we are going to be going over some roadmap stuff for the Dash Incubator wallet that I've been working on for the past, several months now, year now? How long's it been, Ryan?
Something like that. Yeah. On and off, obviously.
Yeah. And let's see. So this is the wallet that I'm showing here on the right side. Getting my stream set up always takes so long. Getting like chats on screen so I can monitor chats, and I just realized I didn't put all the chats on screen, so let me do that just in case.
Oh, I've never seen you have chats on the screen.
I don't normally show them, but I have them. So like this is the Twitch chat and it's just off to the side.
Gotcha.
But I normally have it on the screen.
I think it would help. Yeah. I think it would help to have them actually on the stream if you're ever.
So that is one of the things I started building for the tool I still partially use. And I was combining the chats for at least Twitch and YouTube. But now I also have Rumble, and if I'm streaming to Twitter or X Twitter, however you want to say it, there's just too many chats to monitor, and so I'm like, I need to combine these, and I'm sure other streaming services do that, but because I'm trying to do this all through, vanilla JavaScript and not depend on other people, like intermediaries, just to get to the streaming services, I'd rather use my own stuff, so.
Right.
Last chat I gotta get on screen here. Almost done. All right. Got the chats up. I can at least keep an eye on those now. And yeah, should be good to go here. Okay. So we're about wrapped up with stage 1 here. We've just done the backup and restore. There's a couple things I want to finish with that, which I was thinking I'd get to it this past evening, but I did not get to that yet. But I can show that off here in a second. So if we import this wallet here, what I want to do is get the backup wallet here to not do that. So I don't want to not immediately load or not immediately open this backup file. I want that to be an option you click. So it should show the dialog and have a few different buttons where one should show the, backup recovery phrase. One should say download key store. One should say download full backup, something like that. I haven't chosen all of the vernacular yet, but so essentially this dialog should pop up, but give you a few options to click through for the actual backup process. And then I also, rather than just showing the phrase that I used, I'd rather have this, even if you're technically decrypted already, I think you should go through the decryption process again and just prove, like, you didn't just leave your wallet unlocked type of thing. Like, this is you, the decryption password, so you re-enter it type of thing. I think that should be done.
I think if the wallet is unlocked already, then I would probably skip that. I mean, people leave their banking sites open all the time, for example, and it's just something that's kind of on the user. And I think that
Yeah,
the UX would suffer a little too much for that benefit. But
but
definitely, we definitely want to hide the words so that if nothing else, if somebody's is streaming stuff, they have the choice to like either pull the window off screen or something. So that's not just like, oh, bam, I just exposed my words. Like anytime when you're exposing words, it should be a deliberate choice. And that obviously it's just a priority thing.
yeah, as far as the banking thing goes, though, the reason I disagree, at least in this scenario, is it's like you might have your banking thing left open, or tons of people might do that. But usually, if you then go try to change your email address or change the password, it requires you to re-authenticate. And so that's essentially what I'm saying is
Yeah.
you're not authenticating with any centralized service, but we would have you verify, oh, actually, this is the right encryption password that is associated with this key store already. And yeah, I think that would be better. We've already got the dialogue in let's see here. Wipe out session storage here. If I just come in here and I clear that and refresh, we've already got this decrypt wallet dialog. So I think it would be easy enough to just insert this in between the like show recovery phrase or whatever, and just pop this open and force you to decrypt. And we can change the wording on these dialogues pretty easily. So for that exact scenario, we could say like decrypt to show recovery phrase or something like that. Whatever. In any case,
Well,
I do
is
think we
that
should have.
something that you were going to work on today or no? Because we can.
Not at this point today. I don't think I will get to it at this point, but or if I do, it will be in, later tonight. It won't be within the next couple hours here.
Okay.
But that's what I need to get to. I've got this checked off, but it's because it's in the backup restore branch. I don't believe this is merged to master. But once I get that changed done to the backup wallet thing, I think there was just the changing like recovery phrase to seed phrase stuff, and the batch generate address. So let's see if I'm thinking of this correctly. Yeah, so in here we generate 20 addresses as soon as you import or generate a new wallet. And every time you add a contact, it also generates 20 for them. But I don't think we have that implemented where if, say, you get to like 15 here, it doesn't generate another 20. I'm not actually sure what will happen when it runs out. It might just figure out that it needs to generate it and store it, but it might kind of freak out. So we need to implement that batch generation for as you approach this. And this is something Cool AJ86 had mentioned to me a while ago, was you should always have a buffer, and I can't remember the number that he said. I think he said 20, but I'm not sure if that means you should get 20 and then keep a buffer of 20. So as you get to one, you should generate a new one. I don't remember what his intent there was, but we end up needing all of these addresses generated, and they don't really get used until you try to send or request funds. But once they're used, we don't want to use them again. In any case, so that's the other thing I need to get to, but it shouldn't take long. The code is already there. I just need to implement the function in the right like dialogues or whatever. But let's get on to the roadmap stuff. That's why you're here, right? You still there? Uh-oh. Did I lose you, Ryan? All right, lost Ryan. Hopefully he'll join back in here. All right, so I added this intermediary phase here for quality assurance, essentially. So we'll probably add some items to this as people actually test out the wallet. But this is something Ryan and I will discuss here once he hops back on. I don't know what happened. Maybe he lost internet or something like that. And everything beyond stage 1 QA has not been changed for a while. So when we initially planned out this wallet, stage 1 was the most detailed and least flexible. Essentially, stage 1 of the roadmap is our minimum viable product. And so we had to have the minimum features that we felt like if this is all we did, this works, it functions, people can use it, and even if we make no more updates, it should work, you know, barring any unforeseen changes to Dash itself. Beyond that, so stage 2 and beyond were things that would be nice to have, but not necessarily needed for every single not necessarily needed for the wallet to be viable. So transactions view, for example, I think that's high priority. It would be really nice to be able to see your transactions in here, but we could also just link to each of those addresses that I was showing. Hmm. Okay, so and I popped open DevTools. Sorry, I am pinging Ryan, trying to find out what's going on. Okay, so we can link to the, what is it, Dash Insight. And I think we do that in one place, at least one place, but there might be more. But we can link to Dash Insight for the address, and that would at least give you the balance of what's in that, and it would show you what transactions are involved for that address. And so that was one of the reasons that transactions got bounced down to stage 2. As well as, for example, the table filter sort and the select and copy as CSV. All of that is nice to have, but that makes no sense if we don't have transactions, and this makes no sense as well. So let's see, display wallet balance. This is one I actually wanted to be in stage 1, and it's still been high priority for me. We do have, let me see here. So we did have it in the design here. So that's this right here. So the fiat currency. So I still think this fiat currency display should be part of stage 2. It should be high on the list because I think most people don't think in Dash. They end up having to deal with, whatever their local fiat currency is. And so even if you're trying to live off of cryptocurrency, you end up having to convert that to wherever you're living, to whatever that local fiat is. So knowing what your value is in your local fiat, which I don't know if these are all the ones we'd support. I think this was just kind of a random list the designer had grabbed. Nick is the designer of this, so I don't know. I don't know if that's based on something specific or he just grabbed a list. Let's see. In reality, this list would probably come from, what's it called? I think we have it in the code here. Do we? Let me see. Oh, that's right. What I'm trying to think of is CrowdNode. We had it right here in CrowdNode. So we had already implemented some version of this. And let's see. That. Yeah, so likely that list, move this here. So the list from this would probably be whatever is supported by this API. And I thought there was a way to list which fiat. Maybe it's the symbols. that shows the key pairs. Clearly, USD is one of them. I was expecting more than USD, though. I thought there was pounds and euros at the very least. There are different sources. Let's just pull up the rates and look at those real quick and see what's listed. Okay, so base currency. Ah, so there are euros for some of these. Dash euro. UCH euro. Okay. So at the very least, there's euro. Just saw another one too as I was scrolling past. GBP. So Great Britain pound, I think that is. So yeah, we'd probably get the list from whatever is supported in this API. And that's how we would determine this list. I don't think we'd necessarily go beyond that right now. But that's neither here nor there. Some of what I'm expecting Ryan to want to change is, and this is based on things he's requested recently, is this Maya Thor chain stuff. I'm not sure if CrowdNode is as high of priority right now, but I'm pretty sure the Thor or the Maya stuff would be moved up into stage 2. So essentially you would be able to take whatever funds your wallet has and put them into essentially a savings or investment type of account where you can earn interest. So I think that is higher priority than it was. This is very much connected to the display wallet balance, but apparently it would happen in a settings UI, or at least that's what I was planning. Contact payment share features. Let's see. So the contact payment share features. for SMS, email, and QR image. I believe right now we have QR image stuff. We don't really have, let's see. So I just want to losing my voice here. I want to pair these contacts. So we do have this right here, which is used for funding the wallet in the first place. The other thing that I want to show here is the pairing aspect here. So when you pair a contact, you end up needing this -URI, and when you paste it in there, it grabs additional information from it. But you also get these QR code images. So we have, at the very least, this QR code image. And theoretically, you could save this, I think. Print. I suppose you could print it. It's not giving me a save as option, but you could probably print it as a PDF or something like that. So let's add these contacts. So now these two wallets are paired. That is slightly unexpected. I wasn't expecting this wallet to have any funds. It's certainly possible that I have used this wallet before. I try to keep track of that stuff though. Regardless, I was not expecting that to have funds. So it's odd that it does, but it has enough funds. And the types of funds it has, I'd be a little bit worried if no, this is definitely me. Okay, so I've used this phrase before. I definitely generated it in stream, but I normally keep track of which ones I've used and sent funds to, and apparently I did not keep track of this one. But this is very common for how I send funds. I'm pretty sure I remember vaguely the stream where I was trying to make sure I could see each one coming through. I think I was actually testing this dash balance stuff. And so I was trying to see them come through one at a time. So I just kept incrementing it very smallly each time. In any case, I digress. Let's get back to reviewing the roadmap. Hopefully Ryan will be able to hop back on here soon, as I do need him to, you know, help make some decisions on this stuff. So at least give his stamp of approval. So I'm going to copy this for now. I know this is high on his list, but I'm going to drop crowd node for now. And I'm going to drop Thor chain. I'm going to leave these down here like that. I don't know if we'd ever actually do Thorchain. I don't think Thorchain is planning to support Dash as far as I'm aware. So I might leave that off for now, but we'll see. Okay, so that's where I got sidetracked. So the QR image, this is what I was looking up, is I think, yep, you can get to the pairing information right there by clicking that. It's not indicated anywhere else, so we probably need to find a better way of indicating, hey, you can click, which we do have this button. Oh, that's interesting. That shouldn't be undefined. Title undefined. Let's find this button. While I'm seeing this, and Alt. Okay, so in there, that should fix that, I believe. Nope. Or maybe I need to refresh. Let's refresh first. There we go. Okay, so the contact payment share features, we do have the QR image option, but that's right. And we have that request shows the QR code. And I think if you request to a specific contact, it changes it to that contact. And I think you could also enter an amount, and that will affect it as well. Yep. So we've got that in here, but I believe this contact payment share stuff would be beyond just copy. We might also have a, send as SMS, which I think we could do as, what is it? TEL as a protocol. I'm surprised that MDN does not have a reference to this. There we go. Just not showing up in the results. Here we go. Low.
Intermittent Wi-Fi issues here at this my office. So
I missed some of what you were saying. Had to reset the audio here, but some intermittent issues at the office. I think I got the tail end.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're still on the stream and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Am I on the stream?
Yep.
All right. Let's just try to go over. I'm not sure what you've been up to since I dropped off, but maybe we can just do a little bit of the road mapping and let's see.
I
Okay,
was
so
just looking
stage
up
two.
some stuff.
Yeah, so you're gonna finish that one last item on stage one,
Mm-hmm.
and then
I added this the QA, and we might end up adding a few more items. Like if any bugs arise, I would do that under the QA
okay.
for quality assurance stuff, and
Yeah.
then it would be stage 2 would be the next big push. And I just moved the savings account investing Maya up here. That used to be combined with CrowdNode and ThorChain. I don't know if either of those have the same priority to you as Maya, but I know you asked about Maya recently, so I did move that up to the top here.
Yeah, let's just take off the investing part. That might be more confusing than anything, but just savings account integrations.
And do you want CrowdNode moved up? I'm assuming ThorChain doesn't make as much sense, but Maya and CrowdNode or just Maya?
Right. You can take off ThorChain too. Just Maya and CrowdNode would be the subcategories there. And let's do CrowdNode first.
Okay.
Because
And
they're
I will remove
stable.
that.
And CrowdNode also has higher yield anyway right now. So it's probably more of a priority for users to have CrowdNode integration.
Yeah, I did notice that, like a month or two ago, Maya's Dash was like 40% APY or APR or whatever, and now it's like negative 0.4% or something
Well, I don't
like
know
that.
about negative. Honestly, I don't know how they're doing their calculations, but it's a different kind of yield anyway, so they're not really comparable. The yield on a liquidity pool is determined by a couple different things. It's mostly swap volume through the pool is what creates part of the yield. But another part of the yield is also I think adding liquidity itself. So like if Dash people are adding a bunch of liquidity, then that's essentially a kind of a swap because if you're adding liquidity just on the one side, if you just add a bunch of Dash under the hood, it swaps half of that to Maya, and I think there are swap fees associated with that go to the existing liquidity providers. So it's a little bit of a, like, I think that the reason for the high yield in the initial phases on Dash was the early liquidity providers basically kind of benefited from the swap fees that the later um, liquidity providers were giving them, essentially. And once people stop adding liquidity to the pool, that kind of swapping is more or less done until more people start adding again. So anyway, that was a side tangent. But I
Yep.
thought that that might be insightful to somebody listening. Maybe
Yep.
yeah, we need real swapping to have sustainable yield on Maya,
Hmm.
not just relying on liquidity providers increasing in number. So CrowdNode definitely the better the better yield and the better stability right now. So yeah, that's on top anyway. So that's good. And then transaction views, to me, that's not as important to me. And I'm trying to trying to think what might be more important than that. I'm just reading through the list here. Also, fiat currency is not balances are not as important to me
See,
right now.
I think this is important. Personally, I feel it's important, and
Yeah,
I've already gone over this in the stream. I was already talking about this after you dropped off, but
yeah.
so I think it's important. But
Do you know, like, do you have a plan for what API you would be using for
oh
that right now?
yeah, I was just going to use the one that CrowdNode is using, which I pulled from the what Dash Incubator. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's Ash's project, CTX.
okay,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, so that's a good provider for sure. And maybe that's not too bad in terms of time to get that knocked out. If you
Well,
think that that's important to you, then it
yeah.
might not be.
So I've already in CrowdNode. I've already got that working, and I don't think it will add that much work. Honestly, I think it's one of the smaller things. So to me, showing the value in the fiat currency is like
Hmm.
a very good bang for the buck type of thing. Like it adds a lot of value in my opinion, but it won't take as much time as a lot of the other stuff. So like
Okay.
it's an easy win in my opinion.
All right. Well, we can keep that up there then. Settings, select wallet.
So the multiple accounts or set the alias for the selected wallet. I don't know if you recall this or not, but when AJ was working on the command line and version of this, he had me do some testing with him. And for whatever reason, I don't know. I'm still not sure how my wallet got changed, but it ended up generating a new wallet for me. So he went to interact with me and had an old wallet I had used before with him testing, but I had a new one. And so he actually sent funds to a wallet that I probably had the recovery phrase somewhere, but it was no longer connected to the command line.
Hmm.
And so we got in this scenario where he wanted to be able to keep track of both of those. So the old wallet, in case I ended up using it, and the theory was like if you're using the wallet from your phone and the wallet from your laptop, you might generate two different wallets, and you might later want to reconcile them and combine them essentially. And so you would have two different recovery phrases essentially. You don't want to necessarily get rid of them because you might have, friends
Hmm.
you've connected with on your mobile phone that are going to be sending funds to that, especially in the Venmo-esque scenario. Like, you're probably not going to get rid of that phrase, but you might think of your laptop one as your more official one, or maybe you do more like businessy stuff rather than out with friends stuff, whatever.
And is there a big benefit to having those tied to one username or alias, as opposed to just having two contacts that are just as distinct from a technical standpoint as any other two contacts? Like you would have AJ's desktop and AJ's mobile or something like that, and they would just be two contacts.
This stuff would let you indicate that. So rather than being contacts, you'd be able to keep track of it inside of like your profile, something like that. So it wouldn't end up showing as contacts for yourself, essentially. But in a way, it's basically kind of doing that, but just in a slightly different interface to have some siloing between your accounts, I think.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I think that's less of a priority personally. And one of the reasons is we don't know exactly what the story is going to be, what the best UX is going to be for contact management in general, because especially with platform at some point will be done, and we may want to, well, we do want to give users an option to have a globally, to participate in the Dash Pay contract, meaning you'd have a globally registered username. And that might be like an upgrade path where you just upgrade straight up to a global username rather than a local username. And by the way, I'm thinking about if it makes sense to use that terminology instead of username and alias, because it might be more it might make more sense and be more understandable to just say like local username and global username. So maybe just sit on that for a little bit. I haven't decided, but in any case, we may want to have that integration, and that would affect, I think, the contact management part. So it might be better to just pull that whole thing back till later, because I don't think that it's going to be, I don't think that's a huge priority for people to be able to like have fine-grained management of the contacts versus just having two contacts that are related, but like named in a way that you can see. Okay, that's AJ's laptop versus AJ's or AJ's personal versus AJ's business, or
Yeah.
those kind of things. I think could just be two distinct contacts. One thing anything to say about that for now on your end?
I really, this is more surfacing UI to functionality that's kind of built behind the scenes. So, but beyond that, no, I don't necessarily think it should have priority. And I'm trying to recall why I put it at such high priority.
Well, you probably put it as high priority just so that you could have a settings page, which the alias part might not be as important, but maybe having settings in general would be important, because you got to have settings for your desired fiat currency, for example. So it might have been as simple as that.
I don't know. I think I was thinking more along the lines of we're going to need settings for something further down, like in stage 3 or 4. So I think I was like, we might as well do this now, because if we want something else down here, that's also going to need this, and this other thing will also need this. So I think it was more of this might be more foundational. But it's been long enough since I made this original thing that even though I think I did a decent job, like giving a good roadmap, it doesn't have enough of the details of like, why did I make this decision again? Like,
Yeah. Okay. Well, one thing I can say is I would like the, I think it's further down on the screen somewhere. Can you scroll down a bit?
I am all the way
Yeah,
down
right
to,
there. Okay, so at the end of stage 3, there's a gift card integration. Pull those out, the gift card integration.
am I moving them or
End of,
just deleting?
end of stage 3. Cut them and then paste them up higher. So cut them out of there. And then scroll up and put them under the Maya and crowd node. Or you can put them under the display balance and desired fiat currency. Actually, that would probably be better.
Yeah, give me a second. I'm reordering some of this. It seems like you're a little delayed on whatever you're watching, so
I think so. Yeah.
let's see. These make sense to group together. I think probably that makes the most sense. So essentially gift card under the like fiat related stuff. So the settings for it and the actual display.
And I would just put those, that USD GBP, I would just put those in parentheses after the preferred fiat currency. Unless they're check boxes or something that you do one at a
No,
time for whatever
they're not.
reason.
They're not.
It's taking up vertical real estate there.
Yeah. Okay, so display wallet balance and desired fiat currency, settings preferred fiat currency, gift card integration, which honestly, the way the design was made in Figma, we wouldn't even need the settings, I don't think. But I'm gonna leave it described that way for now. The next thing on the stage 2 list was the contact payment share features, which is what I was kind of going over before you hopped back on here. Essentially, I was showing that we've already got QR code sharing, pairing information inside of both the contact. If you click in there, I was saying we probably need to make it more obvious because there's no way to know that you can click that right now. So I'd gone into send here and we do have a button right here for scanning a QR code. So we should probably add a button like that
because I didn't
into.
know to do that when we were on our demo. I didn't know intuitively. I had to ask you about it.
Yep. So yeah, like because that was added just to solve a problem, but we had no UI planned for that. I wasn't sure where I should put that, but we do need something like that. That's
You
not
could
a
just put it
huge
right on
thing.
that screen so that it's not a button click away. You could just make that modal bigger. Maybe. I don't know. I'll let you decide.
I was thinking of putting it off to this maybe like up here somewhere or maybe underneath. I'm not sure yet. That's where I'll probably tinker around and move it to different places and see. Like we've got this delete button and we don't do anything like that anywhere else other than this dialogue. So it's possible we could also do the little QR thing up there. And if you click that QR, you get that.
Yeah. And the nice thing is you're actually a user of this wallet, or at least you hope to be at some point when it's better. So that's what I always will defer to is just ask yourself, like, what do you think is the best user experience? And, you'll figure it out. And I trust that you'll put it in the right place, or at least decent place. So that's probably good enough for me on that. I'm
Yeah.
looking over the other priority list here to
So
see if we got a good stage 2.
the other things, these were specific things AJ wanted, the SMS and email. And so I
Yeah.
had been pulling up
Put the
MDN.
QR up top on that. Yeah. And then,
I mean,
there you go.
essentially QR is done for this. Like, yeah, we might change it around and change the button, but that's essentially done. This would be literally there is what is it, like SMS, like, and you enter a phone number as a link, like in an anchor tag.
Yep.
So we can do
So you
that,
can
and then
check off
same
QR,
mail
I
too.
guess, right?
Huh?
Right. So you could essentially check off QR image right now, or do you want to
Correct.
do that when you finished what we were just talking about?
Yeah, because I'll need to figure out the button thing. I'll leave that unchecked for now. Even though most of the hard work of it is done, it'll just be some minor button moving. But we don't have buttons for that. Not that they will be that complex. However, what we will need to do to support that is we're not sharing any of that information yet, and we're not connecting to any sort of like phone contacts of any or anything like that. So this becomes more difficult. We'd need to share like the phone number and the email address, which means inside of here we're probably going to need to add those fields in the specification in the dip, I believe, that AJ made for the URI here. It does include provisions for setting email and phone number and stuff like that. So it supports it, but we have no UI to enter that information yet. So we'll need to add UI to even set that. And then at that point, I also think we'll need UI to say, like, when you share, do you want to share this? Because, you know, there's plenty of times that I could foresee, like, I want someone to pay me in Dash. That doesn't mean I want to give them my phone number or email address. So you probably don't want to share that every time. So we're going to need some sort of UI to like toggle on, like, you know, this is a one-time payment, or this is a like acquaintance, not a friend. Like, you know, like some way of indicating that like you don't want to share all of those details with this person.
Yeah, I think that we should move this contact payment share features entirely down to stage 3 at this point, because stage 2 is getting big enough.
Well, I'm going to keep the QR image part of it here just so we finish that off, because it's already mostly done. That won't take much more work to just move the button around.
Sure.
But yeah, this gets more complicated for what I was just describing, so I don't mind moving the rest of that. All right, so set fund denomination for send and request payments.
What does that mean?
Denomination for send. Set fund denomination for send and request payments.
That almost sounds like a coin control thing.
It might have been
like the same thing as the cash drawer down there in stage 3. They sound somewhat related to me, but I don't know what you had in mind.
It might be. Yeah, the fact that I'm using denomination in what, those two places only. Yeah, I think it's related.
Here's what we can
maybe
do. Make another checkbox above, right below email and under. Where you go? Below email, but above cash drawer.
I'm there now, but
Yeah, click in there, hit enter, and then call this coin control. Just call it coin control.
And should I indent those other two underneath it?
No, just call it coin control
Okay.
right there. Yeah, and then indent the cache drawer thing, and then bring the other one into that as a sub
Okay.
task.
All right, that's moved. Transaction view is the last one in stage 2. But that was the first thing on the list previously, and I had already moved it down after moving Maya. I like the idea of being able to see your transactions in the wallet, but I agree that it's not super high priority to me, because we could also just like be like, here, click this link, go to the inside API, and you get to see all the transactions for the address. So
Exactly.
it's not,
That's why it's not
yeah, it's
a
nice to
huge
have.
priority.
Yeah, so I'm okay moving that down to stage 3, unless
I mean,
you
that
think it should.
said, the fact that this is an HD wallet, so it's not like you can just go to one address and see all your history in a block explorer. We do need to have some way of, and there might be a light version of this that we could get 90% for 10% of the effort, where it
Mm-hmm,
just displays like, these are the addresses you've used, and
mm-hmm.
then it links to the explorer, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the full blown table view of like that can go down.
Well, and
But
we
I
don't
think
even have a design for that right now. And
right.
like I could tinker with it a bunch. But yeah, I don't want to waste several streams just tinkering with the transaction view. But I, as I think I already showed, I've already got a list of addresses and we roughly know which ones are used. So, like, this is a list of all the addresses associated. We can fairly easily just dump this list and put the correct link in front of it, so that if you click any of the links, it will take you to all of the ones used. And in general, the way you can tell if they're used is if they have a balance, an insight balance. Right now these aren't reporting any balance. However, I have another wallet over here that has a few with balances. So
Yeah, the transaction view page, and just like displaying transactions for each contact, things like that. I think that
mm-hmm,
will require some thought.
mm-hmm,
So I almost want to bring that into a different stage.
mm-hmm.
Um, what do you think?
I'm
Because
okay
it's
with that.
I'd like to maybe stage 2 will basically just be focused on integrations and um, fiat conversions and stuff like that.
Okay, so this is stage 2 as it currently stands. Well, maybe we should go through the rest of the stages and before we say stage 2 is done, because there might be stuff
Sure.
in the other stages that you're like, oh wait, that should be moved up.
Yeah.
I mean, for that matter, view and manage addresses associated with the wallet. That's very similar to transaction view.
Exactly. So go ahead and organize that how you want.
Well, yeah, so I just moved it up to get it near that for now. Add side-by-side view for contacts to display the XPubs that represent both you and the contact in the connection. I'm not against that. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but I could see from a long-term perspective, it is a necessary feature to add at some point. But it's functioning without that right now, and so I don't think it's like we need this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree.
And I might even say move that down to stage 4, but let's look at stage 4 first. The other stuff we've already discussed for stage 3, so I'm going down to stage 4. We've got subscriptions, which I think is something AJ wanted, but I don't know if we figured it out, and it might require some work on his part.
Yeah, that's a later stage for sure. That's like that would probably be at the bottom of the list. In fact, while we're here at the bottom of the list, let's bring the Tari wrapper and mobile app, call it Ionic, and let's bring that up to stage 3 somewhere.
I honestly, I'd probably put that higher on the list in stage 3. Once we've got stage 2 done, it might be worthwhile to wrap them and get that working.
That's actually what I meant. I meant stage 2.
So the end of
Because
stage 2?
I want to have somebody else working on that in parallel. So whether it's a different stage or not, I don't know. It depends on, when if and when we have more people working on this wallet, which I haven't made that call yet, but I would like that to be higher for sure in the list. So I think it's good right there.
I don't know if they
now.
should be stage 2. I think it
I
should
think that
be
they're also
first on
in different
stage 3.
places. Like Tari and the mobile, they're kind of different things right now, at least how I've planned it. If Tari had their act together and already had mobile support, then this would be a different story. And if Ionic had a desktop story, then that would be, we could do them all with one wrapper. But
well, they're separate right now for that reason.
Yeah. And I think that they should be separate in terms of priority as well. I think that the mobile, it's more important to get a good mobile app than a desktop app, as far as I'm concerned.
Why is that?
Just, I think more people would use it as a mobile app, but I could be wrong. It doesn't, yeah, they're about the same. It's just one of them, the mobile, I kind of have a guy that is interested in doing that. And the other one, the Tari stuff, I don't really have a guy that's interested in doing that. So that's really the only reason. Now that I think of it, it's probably 6s either way, where some people would prefer to have a desktop.
See, I prefer the Tari. Yeah, I prefer the desktop thing to mobile. I hate installing mobile apps. Because to me, there's too much analytics that go into mobile apps on a normal basis that I don't like installing people's apps because it's like, oh, what data are they gathering about me just so I could install this app? Which I'm not saying we do that, but to me,
exactly.
I tend to go against that. And so I tend to distrust mobile apps at this point because the permissions they require are ridiculous often, or the way that at least Android has organized the permissions they request. It's like, hang on. My cryptocurrency app needs microphone access. Why?
No, I know. I understand. We're on the same page there. The fact is, though, we won't be doing that. And so people would probably have less of a concern installing our mobile app than they would some other random app.
I guess to that point, I'm less concerned with either of these because it's already been set up where you can install this as an app. Or at least through Brave and Chrome.
That myself. I'm on my iPhone, and let's see. I'm gonna go to what's the URL for this right now?
Wallet. The latest one is, I think, backup dash restore dot
Okay,
wallet.
first priority after I'm done here is I'd like you to merge that stuff into the wallet.incubator.dev so that I just can remember one URL. So I'll go to either way. It should be the same, right? Wallet.incubator.
So once I finish those finishing touches for the backup restore stuff, it will get merged into master. And once it's merged into master, it will automatically deploy to wallet.incubator.dev.
Exactly. So I'm there, and I'm going to try to add this as what's it called? It should be set up as a PWA right now, right?
Correct. So if
I'm
I'm
just
not
not
in a
seeing the
private window, well, so not being in a private window here, I can see this install dash incubator wallet option. But this is on desktop. So, of course, does it zoom in? It doesn't zoom in. It's not super obvious on stream, but there should be an option for it. But on mobile, it's often a menu. You have to open a menu for the browser type of thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the option because I know I've done this on different web pages that are set up as PWAs, and I can't find the option right now. I'm in Chrome, and maybe I need to be in Safari to see the option. So let me go there.
I suppose it could be possible that I've got the settings configured correctly for Android since I use it, but maybe it needs something different for iPhone.
Wallet.incubator.dev. Okay, now I'm there on my Chrome or Safari browser. And let's see. Not under the share button. Oh, I think it is actually. It's under the share button, which to me is the wrong place for that. And then there's an option to add to home screen. So I'm going to say wallet, give it a name. And there it is. Bam. That's nice. And then I tried to open it, but it doesn't seem to be working. I get a pure white screen when I open it as an app from the
Were you on the backup one or the main wallet.incubator.dev?
It's the main wallet.incubator.dev.
There is a bug in that main one right now. I'm not sure if it should affect that, but I did notice there is some sort of bug in there that is fixed in the backup version. So it's possible.
Okay, what's the URL again? What's the subdomain? Backup.
Hang on, I'll send it in our chat here if that's helpful.
Oh, can you just read it? Okay. Wallet.
Yeah, it's backup dash restore. And then the rest of the URL is the same. So backup dash restore dash restore dot.
Okay. Yeah, they both do the same thing.
Hmm.
White screen.
Well, that might be
Does
a
it work
bug.
on Android?
Let me test it. I've tested it at some point, and it definitely worked when I tested it, but it's been a while, so it's
And
possible something's broken.
It works as a web page at that URL just in a normal browser. I'm just saying it gives me a white screen when I make it an app on the home screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me see. All app. Okay, I am getting a white screen on Android as well in Brave. So there's a chance something's
In
going
Brave
funky.
or when you created it from Brave?
Created from Brave. I mean, it's still launching in Brave, just like if you do it in Chrome, it would be launching in Chrome. It just goes full screen, so it looks more like an app. But yeah, so there's definitely a bug. I'll have to look into that.
Okay.
But that was working at some point in the last month or two.
Okay. Looking through the priority list here again.
So I think we were on stage 4. There was subscriptions. If possible, automate befriend process with blockchain messaging. I think memos or platform, I think is what
right.
that is.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then
we can bump that to stage 5 or keep it there at 4. Stage 4
I
and stage 5 are about the same priority as far as I'm concerned right now. Like,
yeah, at this point we might as well just
it's so
combine them
far
into
out that
stage 4 and yeah, because pretty much everything in stage 4 and beyond is like, we might get to this. At least from
right.
from my
Yeah.
perspective.
So just delete stage 5 and
Yeah.
make it all stage 4.
Okay. So yeah. So stage 2, savings account integrations for CrowdNode and Maya. Display wallet balance in desired fiat currency. Gift card integration. Dash Direct is no more, but there's the project Ash is working on. Do we know what that's called? Or should I just leave it Dash Direct and we know?
No, let's rename it to Dash Spend, I think or CTX Spend. I'm not sure which one they're calling it. Maybe just CTX Spend for now.
Is it capital CTX?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could put /CTX just so that we know. Either way.
Wait, CTX spend /CTX?
Oh, again, your image, the video is behind our audio, so you can either call it dash spend, just call it dash spend, and then in parentheses CTX.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That is updated. So, all right. So dash spend CTX, bit refill, and then contact payment share features, the QR image. I'm going to say /button fixes. And then Towery wrapper and mobile app. Did I call that mobile wrapper too? Mobile app wrap mobile.
Call it platform wrappers, and then as 2 sub bullets, one that says desktop/Towery, and then the other one that says mobile/Ionic.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think we should use Ionic unless we're planning to recode. Is it
Oh, well, you can
capacitor?
call it capacitor. Yeah. It's synonymous in my head, but I know it's not supposed to be.
It like if someone's working on it other than me, they might think it's more work than it is. If they're like, I'm redoing the entire app in Ionic, it's like,
No,
no. We just
no,
want
no.
you to like get the
I
code
mean,
that's there.
we
Yeah.
might want to, at a later stage, we might want to put some bells and whistles on it so that like the navigation is familiar for Android and Apple users, so that makes it
Mm-hmm.
feel like more of a native app. But
Mm-hmm.
that's a separate thing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really even have any routing or anything. It's all just modals right now anyway.
I don't like calling that platform wrappers because of Dash platform. I think that's confusing.
Yeah, well, call it whatever you want, but that's the structure I thought we would do it as. You can call it just
OS wrappers or
sure. Yeah, yeah, that works. Or system wrappers.
system. I like system. There we go. System wrappers. Yeah, normally I would agree about platform, but because there's Dash platform and I've heard so
Yeah, we
much about it,
hijacked it.
yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like I'll be like, why is that under Dash platform stuff? Like,
Yeah.
all right. So stage 2, I think looks and sounds good to me. Stage 3, view and manage addresses associated with wallet transaction view. I'm gonna actually move that underneath transaction view. And I'm gonna move contact payment share features up. What's the priority for coin control? Is that higher priority than all this other stuff?
It's low. Coin control is low priority.
It's lower than transaction view and the
Yes.
SMS stuff. Okay.
Yes.
Um. All right. Well, that's basically stage 3 then. The SMS and email stuff. Transaction view and both of those. Well, view and manage address associated with wallet, I think is also transaction viewish and coin control. All right, and we kind of just finished stage 4, stage 5, and merged them. So I think
And I
we're
don't
good,
know.
unless.
There's a settings down in stage 4. We also have a settings in stage 2, right?
Yes. So
Okay,
we
good.
removed several of the options from settings and moved them down for the
Yeah.
selecting multiple accounts and setting which account the alias is pointing to.
Yep. Okay. I was just making sure that we had that setting up there still. All right,
Okay.
I think it looks good enough for now.
Anything else not on the list that has come up that we should be aware? Oh, actually, I
Yes.
just thought of something.
Okay, you go first. I have something
The
also.
localization, translation, localization. If we want to support
Yeah,
multiple languages,
it's not a priority for me. Um,
should it make the
I
list though?
I think most it should make the list. Yeah, put it in stage 4 because that way we remember that it's a thing. But right now,
Uh-huh.
it's like most people speak English, at least enough to know a few words. So eh, if the wallet takes off, then yes, we want to do that. But if it's something that's ends up um, not too many people using it for whatever reason, then it would
Mm-hmm.
be wasted time at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's really more of a if we do
I
it
know.
now, it
Yeah.
will be less work. If we wait, it might entail an entire refactor just to support it. And That's the only
Yep.
reason that I would do it earlier.
Understood. I think even still considering that, I think it's still
Mhm.
down there for now. And I'm thinking about that, and I might pull it up at some point.
Yep.
But for now, let's have it there. One thing that was that the thing that you were going to mention,
Yep.
localization.
Yep.
Okay, I have one small thing that just bugs me. Let's go
Mhm.
back to the app.
Mhm.
Um, and start fresh, or actually no, it's yeah, click back into your web browser, and I think go just get into the wallet view, however you want to do that. Yeah, there you go. Now, when we go click send, go ahead and click send.
Yeah, I'm there. It's delayed enough that seems like it's
No,
like 20 seconds delayed or
did
something like
I?
that.
Okay, there's just a font issue. When you click a value, like make an amount, and then proceed to the next. For one issue is there's no reason that this request button should be there after you've clicked send, and I think that you've mentioned that before. And
Oh, many times. This
yeah,
design annoys me.
yeah, it annoys me too. Um, so when you proceed to the next step after you put some values in there, the font on the values on the numbers changes. Right now, it's kind of like a thick bold, and if you click
Hmm.
send, it makes it like there's like a thinner, different font. It seems like, and that kind of just bugs me.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a different font.
Well, and there's an error here. Why did that error? Dash site 500. That's interesting. Oh, probably because we have a zero balance, but I'm not positive. I'll need to look into that though. Let me write that down real quick. Okay. Let me do request instead. The request, yeah, it does do a different font. And part part of that has to do with the input field being different, and but I can match them more closely. Uh,
Exact, Jojo Byte. It has to be exact. They have to be exactly the same.
but they are not exactly the same because one is an input field and the other is not.
Is that a thing? Like you?
Yes. Often input fields display fonts differently and it becomes a thing.
Why is that a thing?
I don't
Fix it.
know. I didn't make the browsers,
Fix
but
the
it's always
browser.
been a thing for as long as I can recall. Let's see. So font size 375. And it's not have bold. I'm guessing the font weight here. 800 375. Let me see if it's just a font weight thing. Hmm. That looks a lot closer. So it might just need a different font weight added, which shouldn't be too big of a deal.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks a lot closer. Yeah, so it's just font weight.
Okay, cool. Well, I think that's enough from me for now.
Okay. All
So
right.
I'll hop off.
Yeah, I'll get this other stuff. I'll probably end up working more tonight, but it might be into tomorrow that I get to this stuff. But I'll get backup wrapped up, and then I think we should plan on doing testing. Is that a typo? That doesn't look right. How do you spell arise?
Arise.
Yeah, not double R. Yeah, so we should plan on people testing and actually sending stuff once I wrap up this backup stuff. And then
Yeah.
I kind of feel like we might want to add like a QA stage like this between each one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna do a QA on this either probably tomorrow. I'll probably do a
Mm-hmm.
QA on it tomorrow,
Okay.
like a thorough one, and I'll probably make a little PR to the roadmap as well while I'm doing that.
Okay. So now at least we've got QA stages added in between each stage. All right. But once the backup stuff is done, should I just get into adding CrowdNode and Maya?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, and
Um,
you'll probably have to think about like how you want to design the integrations, like where you access them from. I
mhm,
think just on this, like a sidebar um, with logos would be simple and cool enough because
mhm.
it's kind of plain right now, which is nice from a simplicity standpoint, but it could use a little color. So I think just like logos for CrowdNode um, and Maya and a gift card or something like that.
I
Just
did
mock
just
out a.
have, I just had one other thought. Do we want to implement a light theme
Not yet.
at some point? Should it be on the list though, is my point.
Yes, it should be on the list.
Stage 3, stage 4?
3, maybe 4. End of 3, top of 4.
I'm doing end of 3.
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool. I think that's probably good. It's everything I can think of. But I mean, like, if you think of anything else, and yeah, I guess you can also do a PR yourself and just make changes
Yeah.
to it. So
Yep.
I think these are good changes, though. I do think it's good that, um, mm, I kind of want to do the fiat stuff before CrowdNode and Maya
Okay.
because
Go
there's
ahead.
several things, at least with Maya, where
That.
you can
Yeah.
convert
Yeah.
between, and I think it would also be good for CrowdNode to be able to see how much funds you're expecting to deposit in fiat. So I might
Yeah.
do that
Okay.
first. I
That sounds
also
good.
don't I'd expect to get this done in maybe an hour or two, and then it might be longer than that. I do have to create a new element there. So it might be half a stream given a 10-hour stream, but it would
Well,
likely
in
be
that
less
case,
than a
yeah.
couple hours. No, it would likely be a
Go
couple
for it.
hours, but I'm just saying, like, but because
Yep.
these will need new UI elements, and yeah, I just think that will be better. And then we'll
Okay.
get the crowd node and the Maya in there, and that's also going to need UI changes for that stuff. Okay. So I think we're in a good position to hit this and get this going.
You could just say integrations and then have crowd node Maya dash spend bit refill below
I'm
it.
fine with that. Yep.
Um, because it's kind of a UX thing. Like I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what the best way to do integrations is yet. Like in theory, we could have even had um, we could have even had Maya and crowd node be a contact, that was like a default contact, like something as crazy as that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I would want to do it that way. I'm just saying like how we structure the integrations into the app is kind of a big deal that needs some thought. And we can always change it, but feel free to just put some thought into how you think as a user you would want to access these things, right? Because
I
there's 100 different ways that we could go about it.
I personally don't want them to be users or contacts in the middle of the contact list. I think
I
that
don't
would,
either. I just use that as an example of
yeah,
like there's a lot of ways to skin the integrations cat,
yeah,
and it will require some thinking from
yeah.
not only you and me, but like user input and just overall thought about like how do we want people to use the app in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like don't let it freeze you or stall you. I'm of the just kind of get something done approach, and we
Mm-hmm.
can iterate and revise later if we need to based on
Mm-hmm.
UX feedback. So
Mm-hmm.
don't let it paralyze you, but do put some thought into it. And like I said, like my first inclination is to just have some logos on the main screen and that you click into, and it has a different flow for each one.
I mean,
Where
what I'm kind of
yeah,
thinking of right now is let's see, Maya scan, is it mayascan.org? Does that sound right? Or
mm,
is it .com?
org sounds right.
Yeah, .org. Okay. So what I'm kind of thinking of is
But that's not the right logo if that's what you're thinking. Maya Scan has a different logo than Maya itself.
so kind of doing like blocks like they do here for each of the different cryptocurrencies, but we'd have like a crowd node, Maya dash
Mm.
spend, bit refill, and until you've invested in them, it might just be the logo with some like like click here to add funds and start earning 6% at crowd node or whatever, like so like have different things like that, but they'd be smaller blocks. But if you actually put funds in, then it would show more details like kind of like these blocks show. And then you'd be able to click into them and it would do something else, maybe pop up a dialog where you could interact with CrowdNode or whatever.
Well,
Or Maya.
I think the idea of having like I'm not sure if you were referring to the little icons on the left side, or if you were referring to those tiles that were the liquidity positions.
So
But
I'm saying these tiles, even like here on Savers. So I'm saying we do tiles maybe like above the contacts or maybe below or off to the side, maybe just, one single column of them, something like that. But enough that like maybe match the colors to the logo a little bit, kind of like each of these is doing. And so we would
mm,
just have them either off to the side or above the contacts where you could easily interact with them. But yeah, something like that. That's just my initial thought of where my mind's going with this.
okay, this is I'm going to answer that by taking us back to the stage two thing. So on stage two, we have integrations, and we have integrations, and then under that we have CrowdNode and Maya, and then under that, instead of dash spend, and bit refill directly under that. I want to put gift cards and then have dash spend and bit refill be sub things of that, because
All right.
I don't want to surface dash spend and bit refill as different things. I want them to all just be gift cards.
Mm-hmm.
And the user might not even know that they're
Mm-hmm.
what provider they're coming from. And in terms of like how we lay this out on the UI, I do think that it makes sense to have CrowdNode and Maya be their own things because they are different things. They're kind of both savings accounts, at least when you're talking about Maya savers. They're both like savings accounts, but they're different
Mm-hmm.
enough that they would be different things, I think, like different entry points altogether. Um,
So
however,
maybe
on
have a
the
save and a spend section type of thing. These
yes,
are spending
maybe
things, these are saving things.
yeah, something like that. That may exactly be how we want to surface it on the UI, is to have like a column on the left,
Mm-hmm.
um, a column on the left of, would it be on this screen, or like what screens do we have? Is this the
In reality, we only have one screen right now. We don't have any roots or anything. Everything is done in dialogues.
yeah?
So we've got
But this
one
is the
main
main
home screen.
dialogue. This is the main
Mm-hmm.
home screen after you get through that creating
Well,
or importing a wallet screen.
yeah, even that screen, that's a dialogue. It's just a full screen dialogue.
Yeah. Okay. So this, I think this would be the place to have it.
Mm-hmm.
We would have maybe separate this into a 2-column grid where
Mm-hmm.
the left column is the integrations, and then
Mm-hmm.
the right column is this that you have already. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
of that? I mean, that's like the simple approach as far as I'm concerned, and I think that's good enough for now. And then you could have two main categories in that left column, where the first category is save, and then the next category is spend,
Mm-hmm.
um, top and bottom. But as I was saying that to myself, I was thinking, which this goes back to like my philosophy in general of what's most important, what gets highest on the list. I think actually I would want to add an earn category as well, maybe even, and
Beyond
there
beyond
and then we would
save,
have
so save and earn.
earn, save, spend in that order. Top is earn,
What is
middle is
earn?
save,
What's
and
the
bottom
difference
is
between
spend.
earn and save? What's the difference?
Earn is how do I get dash? And we could link to the incubator task. We could link to like some ongoing incubator tasks, for example, or we could technically technically the savings is a way to earn because the savings is yield. I get that, but I don't consider that really earning. That's only earning dash if you have dash, and that's a different category of earning to me.
Mm-hmm.
The primary category of earning to me is, hey, I don't know anything about dash and I don't have any dash. How do I get some dash? And then there would in theory be two ways to get that. Like you could pay dollars and get dash. So there might be like a hmm, there might be some integrations with exchanges or whatever. But so as you can see, I'm just kind of riffing here. I don't know exactly how I want this. But I do think in general, the structure should be that 2-column approach where on the left column we have different categories. One of them is saving and one of them is spending. And then I'm just coming up with this earning one on the fly here because I think it's important
I like
philosophically.
the idea of it, yeah.
Because
Especially if we've got tasks people can literally, like if we can link through to it, or if we build any future like projects and stuff that are like, you know, you can sell stuff here, you know, we've discussed kind of marketplacey type of things before.
yep.
At least I think we did. Yeah, we did. And yeah, like if we've got different things like that to showcase, yeah, we should.
Okay. All right, but for now, we'll shelf that for now, the earning part. But for now,
Yeah,
just do a savings and a spending category, and then under savings, put Maya and no, in order, crowd note on top, then Maya, and then on the spending, put bit refill. Let's see, on the spending, put CTX spend, and then bit refill. And if I like the way that I would like you to do it is I would like you to do all of those 4 things, surface all of them on the UI so that you can get a feel for how it's going to lay out, at least with these 4 things. And then just on the click, just have a modal that says like coming soon on the ones that you're not working on yet. But
mm-hmm.
that'll give the user some idea of like what the roadmap is.
Yeah. What about
So
surfacing?
I'm gonna put you in the designer role for a little bit, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So take
What
some
about
time to think about that.
what about surfacing the uh memos in the UI? Like we've already got send and request, but do we want to add a way to add a memo?
Like do a transaction with a memo.
Mm-hmm.
No, it would be under the send. There would be an optional field for a memo. So yeah, you could put that there. And I think that would be a good idea. But it would
Okay.
be default. It would be default closed.
Okay.
Very very hidden. You know.
The reason I thought of that right now is, well, for one, we're going to need some way of doing the memos for Maya
Yep.
anyways.
Yep.
But for two, we could have a dialogue that pops up like instead of coming soon, like have a, you know, want this feature, vote, like, you know, vote for it, send us a memo, and just like lock it to a very finite amount of dash, and you know, we could keep track of who sends a memo of like, I want this. Like,
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's put it in
It
there.
wouldn't be that much more work if we're already doing memos for the other things, is why I was thinking of that.
Right. Yeah, let's put it in there. Put a little field in there that's hidden by default with a details drop down, just like you've done in the other app, and that way we can kind of sunset that app as well. Like, there's no reason to have that app anymore once it's in the wallet. So that'll be on the send screen, and then we can think about what kind of games we want to play as far as like user feedback through dash memos. I like that idea. We'll think about that later though, like how we want to use it.
All right, so I've added to stage 2, add memo to send dialogue. And I added it on top of
And
integrations.
can you just get that? I don't know if you wrote it down, but let's just get that request button out of there. It just bugs me. You know, fix the send request dialogues.
You mean when no dialogues are showing, rather than having two buttons, send request, that all go to the same thing, that send request, or when you're in the dialogue, because send and request actually do different things when you're in the dialogue.
Send and request right there are fine. But once you click send, there's no reason to have the request button. Once you
Okay.
click send, that request button is meaningless and it's very confusing. So
So
just
you're
it'll
saying
be
keep these send and request ones, but when you go into the dialogue, hide whichever one was not clicked.
yes.
And then probably update the title. So this would be just be request and the other would be sent.
Yeah, the video being not with the audio, I didn't get. I think you understand what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
So but I wasn't sure based on what you just said because I wasn't
Yeah.
sure what screen you were on.
Yeah. It's
Just
funny
make
that
it
it's
intuitive.
so delayed from our audio.
Yeah, I don't know why that's doing that, but
Okay, yes, I will look into that and get that figured out for the send in
okay,
request. One more thing though, contacts also has send and request. How do you feel about
right.
that?
And I think it makes sense there. Like when you click the contact,
Mm-hmm.
you might be clicking them to send money or to request money from them. I don't
Mm-hmm.
even know how the request really works other than in person at this point.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's where the stuff for the contacts payment share features, the
yeah,
SMS
that's where that
and
comes in.
email, yeah,
Yep.
is we would add something in there where it's like easily copy this to an SMS, easily copy it to an email type of thing, and
Right.
just pre-fill either one
So I
with the
think that the
QR or
having the
whatever.
send and request buttons in the contact details page is fine
Mm-hmm.
because it makes sense
Okay.
there.
Okay. All right.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
Okay. Thanks. Later. All right, so we made some good progress here, and we've got the roadmap updated for going forward past stage one. I am going to wrap up here. Seems like a good point. We're about 2 hours in. So, yeah, I'm going to wrap up, and thanks. Yeah, I guess didn't see anyone chatting, but I think I saw a couple of viewers pop in. So, thanks for watching, and please consider. Hang on. There we go. All right. Please consider liking, subscribing, following, sharing, commenting. Did I miss anything? The stuff. Much appreciated. Thanks, and I will catch y'all